What's up? Isekai Defense Force Commander Jade here. And I want to talk about harems. And harems are something that's kind of taken over anime for quite some time now. They're a very prevalent and very integral part to a lot of romance animes that are in existence at this very moment. In a sense, you could say it took over the romance genre, which, I'd like to do a deeper study of it. But today we're not here for like the deep nitty-gritty science of harems. I just want to talk about why people like them, because it seems like there's a lot of, dissent or misunderstanding on just that basic point or idea in general for people. And to begin with, one of the most prominent and the easiest things to point out, as you'll hear people bring it up all the fucking time, is the power fantasy. Harems do create that feeling of power, that energy, that yeah man, I got all these freaking girls here, I'm cool guy, I'm Mr. Awesome, holy shit, only you're living vicariously through this character. And I feel like there's one sort of misunderstanding or something that's commonly thought of when people think of harem. It's the female harem. In general, you'll also see harems in a lot of shoujo series too, in which case it's a bunch of guys trying to woo and gain the affection of this seemingly plain Jane type girl. It's like Twilight shit. Which is why I find it funny that most people do not point that out or find it amusing. A lot of people like stuff like Oran High School Host Club or Fruit Basket, which I also like those things. But it's important to acknowledge that yes, those are harems. Those are shows that have kind of a power fantasy thing for their demographic. It's the difference is just between men and women, who is enjoying the power from that relationship dynamic. Which brings me to the most popular and most suspect group when people talk about harems is lonely teenage nerd boys. These are your guys that are really into it, and I would know because I was that guy. I still am lonely nerd guy, so I completely understand it. I understand that whole feeling of man, I'll probably never get a girlfriend. I guess I will instinctually live vicariously through this plain template hero man guy. I shall live through him, and through him I shall experience the love of many females. And that's the underlying psychological shit going on. Generally speaking, these people are or how these people are perceived is kind of in this very mean-spirited, angry way. People, if there's anything I think in this world, things that guys on a sexual level or anything that's designed to be empowering is generally scoffed at or looked at as, oh, this is for these types of people.
I wrote a blog post a while ago about why I fucking hate video games, because this is what it does. It appeals to the male fantasy.
Nobody gets fucking spit over more than nerdy teenage boys in society, and that's why I feel a lot of these guys grow up with so many deep, intricate psychological and emotional issues. A lot of them grow up with anxiety and low self-esteem, and a big part of that is definitely the way society just treats these guys. So in order to supplement these these feelings, it's very easy or very advantageous for the lonely nerd teenage boy to slink off into escapism and try and enjoy the idea or just the pleasure of being this highly desired guy who has all these girls who are interested in his company. Man, I feel like this video is just kind of weird at this point, going into the psychology of dudes that are kind of like me, but I feel like at some level I've sort of grown out of the need for it. Even though I enjoy it, I understand what it's there for and what it's trying to accomplish, and it makes a lot of sense that this kind of thing came out in Japan, in which a lot of the times there's a lot of guys that literally just do not know how to, like, you know, deal with women, or just don't really, you know, mess around in that area. You know, guys there, from what I understand, again, this is just from what I've heard, it might not be 100% accurate, this is just hearsay, shit I've read online, and yada yada yada. A lot of guys in Japan tend to be very shy. So the idea of having girls that are interested in you without having to, you know, bust your ass and bend over backwards is very attractive, very cool. Every guy dreams of that, but unfortunately we live on planet shit Earth, and that shit usually doesn't happen. You know, you're a guy, you're probably gonna have to make the first move. Which brings me to the second point. It's largely there to fill a void. You're trying to fill this void, this empty vacuum of, you know, affection connected to the opposite sex. You know, something that a lot of guys just do not get, even though they don't need it, by the way. That's something I definitely want to make a video on in the future, is the idea that you do not fucking need affection from the opposite sex. I feel like we live in a society that really rewards or is over obsessed with relationships and being in a relationship, so everybody's trying to show off, oh look, I'm in a relationship, isn't that great? Or people who aren't in a relationship feel like they need somebody to be their other half when they don't. You don't need that shit. You just need to be happy in yourself. You need to find that happiness or that wholeness within yourself. And I'll go into something like that later on. But anyway, the last point I want to say is don't hate, masturbate, alright? I feel like people love hating on innocent fun like harems, you know? It's not something that is harming the world in any meaningful way. Guys understand from their real life existence, especially the guys who are the target demographics. Like, we understand that this shit is highly unrealistic, that we're probably never going to be in a situation like that ever. And so we're using art for what art is useful for, which is experiencing interesting scenarios and interesting things that we wouldn't be able to experience otherwise in real life. So yeah, that's why guys are interested in harems. It's also got titties. Yeah, can't forget about the titties. Though that's super duper important to this message. It is the most important thing in this message here are the titties. All right. So yeah, don't hate, masturbate. See you around, guys.